Hello, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about text styles and how they work, kind of what I want to do with it. So, you're probably familiar with these kinds of text styles. We have left aligned, middle aligned, right aligned, and what's it called? Filled. And they all work very similar. You just take a point and you draw it from the left to the right. Here you adjust everything to be like around a middle point. So again, you take the same you take the same string, you draw it, and then you shift it by the half of the width that you were drawing. Here you could draw it backwards. So you could draw one word. You could draw one word and shift it, and then the next one you have a space, and then another word, a space, another word, and you just draw it left to right, but you draw it backwards, as you can see here. And then finally, you have this thing. And when you are having a filled style, you can see here, you are kind of adjusting the spaces such that if you compare it to this one, it's exactly the same number of words because you're not actually squashing the words in the horizontal dimension. Instead, you're drawing the same thing, but you're adjusting the spaces to be the number of pixels it needs to be for each word to touch the edges. And sometimes you have very long words. So let's say I write something very long there, and then this is a very short word. It can look kind of strange like this. Or in some styles that people are doing for, newspapers or whatever, they actually have two spaces like that after a dot. And then you can see like it can get kind of ridiculous. But that's just the nature of it. Then we have another thing, which is, I would say, the layout, layer, canvas. You can kind of call it something like this. But it's exactly the same thing. So you have the base thing that you're drawing, but then this text is drawn into a box, sort of. And this box can be squashed. Oops. There we go. Hello? Yes, edit, please. I see. So I can select the text when it's squashed like that. But as you can see, it's exactly the same thing. It's the same width. Like, let's say this is 800 pixels. This is also 800 pixels, but it's scaled down. And you can scale it on the X or Y axis. But the point is that you're having sort of an internal limit where the line break happens. And then you have an external sort of canvas layer that you can scale. And this thing, you can do anything you want with. You can rotate it. You can scale it on X or Y. Obviously, it's going to look worse than the original text, depending on how much you are transforming it. And you can do some things to limit that. The main thing I would say is probably you want to do only one transformation. So you can scale it on the x-axis or the y-axis, or you can rotate it, but not everything at the same time. That would be my suggestion. So with that said, how do we actually implement this? There's a couple of ways that you could. The way I was doing it before is I think I was just drawing everything left to right like this, because that's kind of how the text is. It's the intuitive way of doing it. But it might be worth actually to do it word by word rather than, or even line by line, rather than finishing the entire thing and then go a second pass with all of the adjustments. And that's simply because then you don't have to if you have a long string, you don't have to reload all the memory twice. So when you're working on a single word, obviously all of those characters are going to be close in memory to each other. You might have a very long word, but like even the longest word, if it would be 50 characters, it's still going to be like very close in memory. But if I have, 2,000 characters in a whole paragraph, then it can run out of memory space, and then that would not be a great thing. So I'm thinking I should make that adjustment. There's also the question of different languages. So I'm not going to support every language under the sun, but we can look here is Arabic, like I have been talking about before. So we take a word, maybe. Now, Arabic is very similar in one way, which is that it has spaces and it can line break. So it's not too bad. I'm just making some garbage here. Maybe I just copy the entire paragraph. Like that. Okay. So this thing is, as you can see, this is left justified. But as you can see, it's still sort of right aligned. And that's simply because you are starting from the right and drawing to the left. If I'm doing right justification, like, I don't know, this is just the implementation in GIMP. But for some reason, if you have normal left justification, it's right aligned. And if you're flipping that, then it's just drawing from the other way. So I think GIMP is just doing literally the same thing that I'm doing, maybe line by line, that it's drawing the string once, and then it's like shifting the entire thing depending on the width. And as you can see, if we're doing middle works as you would expect, and this one works as you would expect. So all of that is the same, and that's nice because you have spaces. Then you have something like Chinese. And I was looking this up, and normal kind of Chinese that you would see in a newspaper, it does have spaces. Now it does have these, I think this is dots. So you have like these extra characters. In modern Chinese, you have comma, dot, colon, and you have there is some kind of space character. Maybe this is some kind of space character. They have a special character just for being a space that is the width of a block, a character, a glyph. I don't know if this is the one. It might look different, but like there is an ASCII code for it, or UTF-8 code for just blank space that is not a normal space, but it is a uniformed width space. And apparently that works with Chinese. Now, obviously, when you have as you can see, this is fairly uniform, a uniform grid, essentially. This line with a quote, it is longer than the normal characters. These are pretty much square. So I'm not sure if that's something I should care about, but obviously there's no justification that can happen here. So I guess the last line, like, it's technically being justified. But you see, like, even in GIMP, this feature is kind of broken because I can't do a filled justification because it doesn't understand, or there's no space characters. If I would add a normal space, maybe it would work. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure, but it's something that you can implement. You can implement it very similar to this, I would say. But the main thing about Chinese is that you're not going to have left and right justification. You're going to have only the filling justification, if that. So again, I'm not an expert on languages. I don't speak Chinese or any Asian language, so I couldn't really say anything about the details. But that's what I've gathered from just like reading a little bit about it. Mostly Chinese is just like straight up blocky characters, and then you just print those characters as they come. And if you have nothing else, then just doing left to right justification like this is fine. So now it comes to implementing all this. So we can start by building, maybe. See where we are at. Excuse me. So this is our normal text that we are drawing. You can see it's left to right justified. And the number one goal here is to write a right to left justification, and then a center justification, and then a fill justification. And when that works, we can look at other languages like Arabic or Chinese. So that's my plan. We'll see how far we get to that. And maybe I should just do Arabic immediately, because what I would like to do is I would like to see if how much I can reuse, because here's the thing. Like I said, Arabic is drawn right to left, but each individual word is, while each individual word is drawn right to left, the overall drawing still goes left to right, unless you do something about that. So then the question becomes if we can reuse, like, I would like to just reuse the left to right justification or right to left justification for both languages, regardless of if it's a left to right or right to left language. I'm not going to support top to down languages or anything like that. I think, you know, for example, Japanese is like that. You want to sometimes, if you read Japanese online, probably you're going to read it, I think, right to left. But technically, you can write it top to down. And that's not going to be something that I'm interested in supporting. Like, we need some limits I need to put on myself. So let's start with doing this right to left. I did already do that, but like I said, I was doing it on the entire thing. And instead, I would like, because I have a maximum width. defined here that's doing the line break. I could still, hold on. So this is drawn left to right. I have put the maximum width of this like inner layer to be 800 pixels. And that's why it's adding a line break right there. At that point, I could just shift this entire thing to the left by the 800 pixels. Or no, it would have to be the width of the actual line to be shifted, not 800 pixels. But that's fine for each individual line. The question then becomes, if I have no line breaks, if I don't set a maximum line width, it would still work. But do I do something similar to Arabic then, where I draw it left to right, but each word I shift right to left? I guess we'll have to look at it when we get to it. I do also wonder if it makes sense to do it word by word. We just have to kind of try it, I guess, and we will see what makes sense. The first thing I need to do is look at where this implementation even is. So right now I am drawing the string in, well, I call the function from game here in setup in this text create. And text create we can delete all of this. Let me, while I'm editing things, let me actually take entity one. Let's make it a bit larger. Higher, it can be higher up. And I don't want it to be spinning around like that. Or here. Oh, wait. Yeah. This is this language or these glyphs. Now, as you can see, you can actually see E here. It's the most used character in, well, not only in this, but in all of these bodies here, which is interesting. I think it's interesting. It's very blurry though. I know it's not the native size, but it shouldn't be that blurry. I don't get it. Let's just very quickly, let's look at render doc to see what's going on there. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Inputs on there. Well, it's not. I don't think this is the same texture, actually. I think this is the smallest texture. Something is going on there. I'm not sure what. I have I should have a multiple textures for each. Can I see that? Yeah, it's this one. This is the smallest font, I believe. So to fix, it's not really a fix, but we can choose a bigger one. Load assets or assets. Where are we? Triangle, rectangle, texture ID. What if I do that? Yeah, now we're picking like one of the higher quality ones. So that's not something I'm going to keep. I just would like to see it better. 250 and 400 is fine, I guess. No? This is also something we need to fix. For some reason, the Y is like something about this is completely off until I resize the window and then everything works. It's the same thing on the browser. So it's definitely something I'm doing weird when I'm initializing. Anyway, here now you can actually see EIUST. That's like the most common characters. And then you get the other ones. Now, I could make it more sophisticated. So I could, for example, make it such that I'm drawing the texture of the text that I'm drawing, but not really the point I'm trying to make right now. So let's see. Where were we? Text create. This is in the alphabet function or file. Oh, it's in main. I see. Because I was writing this because the text has two components. It has the shape and it has the texture, but then it also has the graphics implementation, the buffers and things like this. So let's see, we are doing Here's the shape, font shape. So the shape should take the style, and you can see here we have a string style in game.h. We have layout, we have left to right, right to left. So yeah, here's some special characters that I was adding. You have ideographic space. That's what I was talking about with Chinese. It looks like this. It's a space character that is a square block. Maybe there's some Wikipedia. No? Well, anyway, that's what it is. And then you have also zero width space. So some languages, there are no spaces. I couldn't tell you which ones. But that's a problem if you don't have, if you want to support automatic line breaks. So if there's no real spaces in the language, but you'd still want to line break at some places automatically without a special line break character, then you can use this character. And it's exactly the same thing. Zero width space. It's just a space character, but it has no width. It's exactly like that. So here we are doing these shaping. And does it make sense to do this word by word or line by line? Word by word would be optimal, I think, because then everything is very close in memory. Everything is already loaded. And I think it might be easier because you're like abstracting left to right, right to left drawing. It works for, or although it works for right to left and left to right. See, it doesn't really work, I guess, because if you're drawing right to left, then you don't necessarily, you might want to have a different anchor. Oh, I see. So in this example, if we take this example like this, let's say we have an anchor here from the top left. If I am changing it from right to left, like this, I don't want it to go all the way like that. I would like it to go like that if I change the anchor from top left to top right. But the anchor is part of the outer box, sort of like this. So I can scale the outer box. Let's call it the canvas or the layer. And we can change the anchor of the layer. And that's the same as anything else. If I'm drawing a button that is 2D with a texture, then I'm having an anchor in one of the corners or the middle top, middle left, and so on. And that's the same thing like would be here. If I'm having an anchor on the top left or the top right or the bottom left or the middle left or the middle right, then I can move this entire thing. But for the text itself, I want it to work exactly like this, where it shifts in place. And if it's shifting in place, then I have to draw at least the entire line. And I have to also know what the maximum width is. How many pixels? You could have different units. So you have the actual space in between that that is the space in the font from each character to another, including the space itself. But that's usually in the, hundreds between characters and several hundreds for, those things like spaces. And I think it's not very intuitive. And depending on the font, it can also be different values. I don't know if you can rely on that value. Pixels is, constant across the board. So, all that said, I think probably we have to just go line by line. Or do we? Well, if I draw one word and it's left to right, I have to shift it all the way to the right within the 800 pixels, for example, the width of the inner layer. Let's call the inner layer, the inner box. Let's call that a layer. And then the outer layer is the canvas. And then we can reuse, or maybe quad, canvas or quad. Maybe let's call it quad because then it's more general. Because the quad would share a lot of, pretty much everything would be shared with drawing 2D texture elements. And in that case, I can define the layer it should be fitted within. I have to define the width. I can have a default value that is, essentially infinite if I want. But here's the issue. Okay. What do I do? Let's say this is 800 pixels. Or no, let's actually not say that. Let's say this is like 80 pixels. Oops. Well, what if I have a long word like that? And in this language, it kind of works. You can just there's so many things that you can do. So if you were writing, typically what you would do is you would add a dash like that to indicate that it's continuing. So do I want to add that as a feature? Maybe it's optional. And here's the thing, if I have some long Arabic word, I'm calling it Arabic, it's actually fake Arabic. Oh. Please. Oh. What is this? GIMP, hello? So GIMP does that. Thank you, Prelinka. That is very kind of you. Where was I here? That's interesting. So in Arabic, you can't just like throw in a line break randomly. But I guess GIMP does it for you. If it has to break a word into two, because it simply can't fit the thing. See, that's super annoying. Because if I want to support this, like imagine that you are breaking. Here's the entire thing. Let's do something like that, right? We have a very long word. Now you need to continue on the next line. Suddenly, you have a line break with a dash. So you have to change what this character is. And for some reason, GIMP is completely broken here. I'm typing here left, 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 left. It goes on the next line. I go right once, and then it jumps 4 or 5 characters. And you might also notice the character here is the character that is in the middle of the word. I don't think that's correct. If you're doing this, I think you need to start with this character. Now, if I do an enter to make my own line break, then it starts over. With the beginning character. So that is interesting. I think I'm gonna have to ask some chatbot. Highly unconventional. That's what I was suspecting. Yes, it violates the fundamental rules of the script, but sometimes it is necessary. Uh, I understand that they are never split across 2 lines, but if you want to have text on a computer, it might be necessary. This is the problem. The space is filled by Kashida. Aha, so there's a third way. Well, this is not what I was expecting to see. They're just making they're just adjusting the the length of the characters. But that's fine for handwriting. In handwriting you can just like kind of stretch the characters as you like. But in a computer it doesn't work like that. You see, Muhammad. Like that's you can't do that in a computer. Like maybe you can, like it's just like adding some extra width. Like you know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's the edge of standard typography. Truncation. Ellipsis. Okay, so the letter at end of line 1 has to be the end form. I see. So instead of doing what GIMP is doing, we would be doing that. And then this is incorrect. Like this word would be not, it would be reading the wrong way, but it's better than whatever the fuck this is. I guess. You know, I'm actually gonna ask a real human. Let's take a real long Arabic word. Not the word long, but a long word. We have, this is a long word. Oops. Hello? cool, cool. Okay. So we have this. I'm gonna ask someone. We can come back to this later, but I have actually a group of people I can ask. So we can do this. And we can do, oh, well, that, maybe that was a bad place to do it. No. Where can I get a good hard line break? It's all the ending and beginning characters. Maybe it's a bad example then. Starting with G. Maybe I should just go to a translator. Something that is a word. Ay, ay, ay. How do we find... Oh. Is that the real beginning? I don't... Is that... I'm starting to. I feel like this is not a real beginning character. Maybe it is. Okay, here's a different word. See this one, or maybe not. No. Ah, there we go. Okay, so this specifically this G character. I don't know if it's just something specific to GIMP or if it's something about the language itself. Oh. So that's one example. The other example is uh, this would be the second example. Let's see. No, please stop selecting. Okay, I have posted my question to a community that does speak Arabic. Until we get an answer, I guess we can do what I set out to do. We have spent almost an hour just yapping. Yeah, let's see if anyone answers today. Otherwise, we can come back to it. It's crazy to me though. Like how can anyone read such small details? It's very hard for me to read this. Like it's so small details, one or two dots or these squiggles. Maybe you get used to it, but like for me, this is very hard to read. I don't know. It's interesting to me. So yeah, can we implement this right to left alignment in word in a word by word basis? I guess we just have to try. Yeah. Let's go to the alphabet. String shape. What was it called? So here is where we detect the line break. And you can see also that we're doing this adjustment. We're just going through every character and offsetting it. I would like to do that with the style instead. So we are at this is the first character, by the way. The max width is calculated here, and it's just literally the style width divided by the scale, which is under 1. So this is in the unit of the font character spacing. I forget what it's called. It has a specific name. Font spacing? Is it just font spacing? I'm not actually sure. Relative units? So I'm just going to throw in an if here. Let's abort this one and cancel it out. We are drawing a word. How do I know when I go to a space? Do I draw spaces, by the way? Is there a space in here? I don't think so. Or the space is having 0 dimensions or something like that. I believe that's how it was working. I could double check that. And we're drawing glyph by glyph. And we trigger a line break. Glyphs drawn. How do I know when there's a new word? So it has to be all right. I was setting the start of the last word, right? Was I not? We switch on the code point. If it's one of the special characters, we do some stuff. Otherwise, nothing. Do I not record? We have line start. We don't have word start. This is fine. I want to rethink the logic. Let's maybe do this for now. It's... That's correct, bro. No? So now we should be just drawing all the characters in one go. Or nothing at all. I guess maybe they're like uninitialized or something. Let's take a look. Let's ignore this switch for now. This is what I was doing. Recording the last space. Let's delete all of the special logic. We are just doing the very, very basic. So now we would be able to draw just on one line. And you can see that's what we're doing. If I'm swapping language, can I do that easily? I believe it's just a setting here. Let's do Cairo. And let's do data 1. Now it should be left to right Arabic. Oh. I think I know why. The reason why is because we're writing this text create, but we are not parsing the correct. Hold on. Game main. Yes, that language is not found. LA. Well, now it's AR. Why though? It's the wrong font still, I believe. So I have to be loading the wrong font here. Where's the font? I'm initializing all of the fonts. I'm selecting the Cairo font. Hold on. Render doc. Well, that's no good. Cairo supports normal characters. I don't think Alata does. So I think it's still using Alata somewhere. It has to be in this one. So let's see. This is where we are doing the sorting, right? Three glyphs. Space, dot, and cross. Okay, we're sorting there. So now we have 101 glyphs. So why are we using the wrong one? 3 glyphs again. Yeah. Left to right. What is the first one? Font ID. So I think I have to rethink exactly how I do that. Maybe this doesn't make any sense. Okay, cool. So that does work. The question mark is backwards. Is that typical? Okay, I guess that's just part of the language. Cool. Now you can see that we're still drawing a lot of graphic, but that's fine. I think this might actually not do anything. I think it's completely unused for fonts specifically. But okay. So that works. Now you can see that it's still running left to right, but each individual word is being drawn right to left. And well, let's see here. Where is this question mark? There's no question marks. Where is this question mark coming from? Or is there this inverted question mark? Ah, there is. We're drawing, this is the question mark. Oh no. Is it this word? No. What word is this? Also, am I actually drawing intro 2? I thought it was intro 1. No, okay, it's intro 1. Fair enough. But this is just bizarre. It's not this word, is it? Like it should be that word. It just doesn't look like it is. Or maybe, man. I have to check. This makes no sense. Let me do. Let me do that. They are completely different. What is this word? I don't get it. It looks completely different. It is accurate. That's the same. But how? Like, is it just the font that is completely different? Maybe I should get a better font. This Cairo looks a little bit weird to me. Let's check. Language Arabic. Something that supports this. Well, look at this. That doesn't make any sense. This is like a G character, but this is not. Oh, it starts from there. What? That's why. I see. I'm just looking at it wrong. Then it makes sense because this character is the thing that has the actual question mark. Is that a VS Code bug? Like, why is it there? Shouldn't it be on the left? Well, that solves the issue. That's weird. I was looking at this word, but actually it's supposed to be over there. Okay. Let's see. This is working correctly. What I wanted to do is right now, whenever we're reaching the end of the word, should be in alphabet, font shape. Let's look at this advanced X. So take a look at this. Advanced X is 400, 500. And we can look at the glyph, I guess. Here, code point, some Arabic character. Here, this is hex 20. This is space. They're all positive. Am I drawing it? So why am I drawing it backwards? Wait a minute. I forget how this works. Because this is obviously positive, and the cursor is positive, and the offsets are all positive. And we can verify that with looking at SB, offset X, so are they going... Am I adjusting them somewhere else? Well, the biggest question is, in what order am I drawing them? Are they being drawn backwards? Glyph index. Glyph index is not the same as the glyph ID. Ah, yeah. So we have, let's see here, 1567. Maybe I need this in hex. 61F. What was this nice website? Here. Here we go. So we are having 061F. It's a question mark. So we are drawing it left to right, like backwards. Because then the next one is 0180. And it's this sort of F, letter T with hook. And if we go back to our JSON, is it this one? That's not the character. T with hook. What character is this? Did I type it wrong? I typed it wrong. I see. U plus 0629. This. So that then you can see this is literally this character. And then we will have this like kind of fishing hook. Uh, to F. Yeah, you can probably no for some reason this is not loading. Based on that, no. There are alternative forms for this, as you can see. So yeah, you can see this is literally our character, middle here. Or maybe the end. Are they not attached? Okay, so it's the end version because they are not attached. Assuming that VS Code is accurate. Okay. So the point is KB is drawing left to right. So it starts at the end of the word, sort of, and it draws the entire line. That is not I like that could be a good thing if I'm drawing line by line. Let's see. Am I drawing left to right? I just realized maybe I didn't actually set that up anywhere. So we have the KBTS shape again context here. Draw direction. Where is that set up? It's here. It's based on the language. The language is set where? Here. So glyph scrape main. It's called from here. Here we have language set where? Settings language, state settings language. Where does that come from? I think it might be uninitialized. I guess we need to just look it up. No. It's 0 English. That's why we come here. It says the draw direction is left to right. I'm impressed that it still works. But we need to set that outside call stack. So let's do that because I think that's pretty important to have working. Main. We are initializing. We can just initialize. So if we have Arabic, then obviously this command it only exists within the scope. Let's say it is 32. Buffer count, size of command buff, format is data D. And then we have the language setting language, right? That works. Then we can also reuse the same, like, because these ones don't have to be put into a buffer with sprintf. Where else did I set it? Nowhere here, I believe. But in game, well, that's unused. But we're having a, what is this, font ID. Is there no invalid one? Font ID switch. Yeah, makes sense. So now we can go put that in there. Obviously, this one is also a I don't know. I can't use printf here because I'm not importing it. So do I make my own library or what? Maybe not today. I do, however, want to make a string library. Because I have a string type with a length. And that's what I would like to use. I just didn't make any functions for it. I'm going to be very sneaky. And I'm going to do like an import within the function or include string.h. And then I'm just going to do like sprintf in here. What is this? Sprintf not in string h. Is it standard IO? Yeah. Okay, so sprintf command. Let's use the safe version. And then it's just literally this. Oops. Except this one is a D. update settings language. Main. Great. Let's try that. Oof. What's going on here? Function definition. I think it's hating me for doing that. LA, well, let's not check for this LA. We can even, like, we don't have to use the codes here. We can just call it Arabic. And we can call this Latin. And then if you have a drop down in the game, then you can just read these to populate it. Maybe even capitalize it. Maybe, I don't know. Now, it doesn't say Arabic in Arabic. Honestly, I don't really like when games do that. You're having some kind of drop down with languages, and all of the drop down entries are in the language that they are representing. But imagine that you have the wrong language set, and then you need to navigate and find the the drop down with the language that you are trying to set. It just makes it harder. I think probably, honestly, it should be some kind of symbol, and then on the symbol you click it, it can be all English, like, or English slash and then the native one. It's just sometimes it's very difficult to just tell. And I don't know, maybe it depends on the language, I guess. Like, I'm just thinking maybe you have a language, I don't know if you call it, Mandarin or Chinese. If maybe in some languages the main language is just called main language. I'm not even sure about that. I like when I can read in English the language itself. Okay, enough distractions. What was going on here? Not found. Well, I have to just build it, I guess. Error. Nope. We don't need the breakpoints right now. It couldn't find the glyph with a specific code point. Why is that? Ah, I know. It's the same error as before. So I forget to update this. But it was already set to Arabic. Are they not set? What are you talking about? Clangd breaks in weird ways sometimes. So I think I just forget something here. Intro, body. Okay, that is Swedish. So how did that happen? Because they are not aligned. So it has to be, okay, Latin. Latin, Arabic, Swedish. No, Latin, yeah. Swedish, Chinese. English doesn't exist, funnily enough. Maybe just call it English then. Now it should work. Oh. Duplicated value? Oh. Funnily, that it didn't warn me about that. Or actually, no, not funny. Now it's Arabic. This is wrong. That's fine. We don't care. It's the right string. So now I can change it in main to language English. And then it's the alata, or not alata. Damn it. This is the lorem ipsum. Beautiful. Okay. So obviously, if we're having Arabic here, this is still being drawn left to right. How does that happen? Because I thought it was going to be negative values. Is it still... doing that in here? $400, $500. It's a bunch of positive values. No negatives. So I guess we have to get to the end of the line. So here's the weird thing, right? Let's say we have no technical limit on the length. Or, it's going to be set at 1,000,000 pixels because you just want it to go off to the side. You draw it left to right, that's fine, but what do you draw it for right to left? I guess you just don't. So we can say this alphabet. Shape, was it? I don't care about the scraping. Here, font shape. So we have this, is that the style? Width, right? So at the very, very beginning, if the style line start, glyphs drawn, and I was using what? Max width. So this should probably be something like if style dot width is larger than 0, then we do this. Otherwise, or I never know what's the best way to do this. This is, I feel like this is nicer, just stylistically, but it feels like a waste. I don't know why. It's probably making absolutely zero difference. So then, okay, if we have a max width, then we have to pay attention to it. Otherwise, we ignore it. So we are doing the same thing, alphabet, C, switch code point, this thing. And then we just say basically the same thing. If then we have to do a bunch of stuff. So I think maybe we just go back to what we were having, because this code works pretty well, like I was doing before. We're just going to copy paste it to see. We will do this switch thing. Based on the code point. If it's a new line, draw direction. I don't know why we need this right now. Let's ignore it and see what happens. New line. Cursor X, cursor Y. Right, we have the line. Okay, we have line break and line start. If it's a space. Carriage return. Does nothing. All right. We do the same thing. And we are doing this. If line break is equal to line start, wouldn't that be the scenario here? We have to force a line break. Fine. So let's just do an assert. And let's not do this. We have overflowed on a space. So that's the case where this is the last character. And then we have this RTL. Let's go back and just like remove that. Or actually, no, I want to see what happens. Line break was set on a space. Or since? I thought this should say it was set before our current word. Let's see what we got, because this is a little bit confusing to me. Like, I know that I wrote the code, but okay. So as you can see here, this is exactly what I didn't want to do. Now it's drawing from the right to the left, but it's using this 0 point as the anchor. I want to shift the entire thing to the right, like over here. Or it might even be like over here. And then the next line is never shifted because I disabled that function after to check. So that is also, you can notice that this is going upwards for some reason. That is interesting. Why would it be going? Ah, no, I see what happened. Okay. No, 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 no. This should be below. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, well, sure, it's not a new line, but we did break here. So the line break is not the same. It is RTL. We're doing this stuff that I didn't want to do. And we break the line if following, start, offset. So the cursor being negative means that everything is going up. Because the way things are drawn. But I thought I changed that. Maybe it's done here. Font scale, offset Y. Negative. Minus 72. So why is negative being drawn above? I feel like it shouldn't be. How many characters? I think I didn't even notice when it went from up to down. Oh. So it looks like on character. This is 0 width, I think. I don't know what character that could be. It has 0 width. So space, but like none of the other spaces were like that. $71. These are all at 82 and these are all at around 70. So what about the shader? Buffer 79 maybe? Here we go. Offset Y. It is negative. Let's look at the shader again then, I guess. This is plus a negative value. Let's see, where were I? Where was I? I don't know why it's negative. This is in pixels. I just forget. It was a long time ago since I was looking at the shaders. But it's definitely the shape. This is the shape, right? IVEC 4. and we have x and y minus 72. This is converted into a float. And then we are multiplying it by the projection matrix. So why was it working before? Is my question. It's probably because of this. Or something I deleted there. No, this is also broken. The way, if I do this with see, this works. So I have to see what's going on here. It never executes? Ah. Let's go back to the code I was editing. So we have cursor y is 0. The next time it's at negative 1380. And that's true for all of them. So we are getting to the end here where we are returning. And what? And this is also negative 72. It has to be because I am drawing it backwards. And this is the entire reason. So again, if we switch back to Arabic. The reason why this happens is because I'm technically drawing from left to right and advancing the characters. Are they connected everywhere they should? I think so. I think it looks fine. But yeah, because I'm starting at the end and I'm drawing left to right, it means that when I'm doing a line break, it's breaking. This one is shifted down, but it's the beginning of the sentence, not the end. So that's just kind of a funny side effect. But that's something that we will be adjusting. So let's go to the alphabet again. The first thing I want to do is fix the left to right thing. And we kind of have to do the same thing. If it's on the line start. See what I need to do. This character, right? Oh, which character is it? This one. We are doing this, right? So then that means that the line break is equal to the line start. The word is too long. Look at that. So that's something that we need to consider. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. We have this. I think it says GGG, 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 GGG. And what situation do we have here? The line break is not at the line start. The line break glyphs drawn. We have, what is this? This is the overall number of glyphs that we have drawn to get here. Is that just by chance? It's not by chance. What was the last glyph? It's space. Man, I hate this like the way to use this. The cursor goes all kinds of crazy ways. And also it's incorrect. Like that. Okay. Beautiful. So now it can't be on this. The line breaks on the fourth character, which is, well, we should start like that. One. See, the cursor is going all kinds of crazy ways. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be. So why do you say 3? 0, 1, 2, and then line break is 3? Why is line break that? I guess we have to just step through it. Right now, line break is 0. We draw one character, another character. Third character is a space. You can see here. So this is not a good name. Last space, maybe. Or do I use this in multiple places? Let's call this last space. If we have a new line, this is line start. Now it makes more sense. Well, I don't want to do that. This entire thing with draw direction, just remove it, please. Word is too long. Else. Yeah, makes sense. So the last space plus equals 1, because we don't want to grab the last space itself, like the space character itself. We say that the line starts here now. And then it makes sense with this. We say line offset. This is not what we do. For each character since the last space, or actually no, not even that. Or actually yes. Each character since the last one. What is this line off? Why are you not telling me that something is wrong? Hello? This is a separate thing. It's not in here. Why did I put it up there? Makes no sense. What is this? Last space offset X. So, see, this works only because of the way that we are drawing. But I want to change that. So here, line break height, we have already calculated that. Cursor Y minus equals line break height. Now what you're going to see is that it just goes from one line to the other. So it starts drawing. It does the line break because this didn't fit. And we need to do minus this space. the next part we're doing, we're hitting this place. I don't know why this would do anything. I think it does nothing. Well, I'm ignoring the right to left logic for now. So we can do we insert a dash? A dash is not necessarily part of the language. Like I don't have any dash characters in there. I could do functional. And then all my plus minus equal slash control characters. I don't know. That's sort of not in the language itself. It might be in a language like that, but Arabic, I don't think it would be. So then I have to add that character to my table of things to parse. So let's see how would I do that? Well, the command, we have body. I need to resolve this token. So we are grabbing this. It's functional, and we are doing it on the base. Jason, what is the base? Object token? No. It's this one, right? Tokens left. It's jtalk dot token count. Left. We don't need that null pointer. So we are grabbing this thing, but how did I guess TFL JSON index. Entries. It is entries, but that's only local. So like, how do I grab all of them? I do it like this. Maybe I should make it into a function or something. Body token. So now there should be no issues with grabbing this. but it does mean we have to sort of hack our shaping function. And that's not something I am immediately aware of how to do. Assertion failed. Where? In JSON.h? Okay. I am unfortunately out of time. I know there was a lot of yapping today. So I didn't really get very far into the code, but I'm getting a good grasp of it, of what I want to do, I think. So I think tomorrow, or maybe Wednesday is the next day I'm streaming. I'm not really sure. But I do need to like really think about this, because obviously line breaks is quite important. Different languages support for that, and alignment. And I had to go through it in my mind to be able to know what I was even gonna do about it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully next time it will be more productive. But yeah, now I feel confident knowing what I should do. This bug is weird, but I will look at that off stream. So yeah, thank you for watching, and good night.